Growing up, I was always interested in the mental game. After years of study, I developed the Basketball Brain program. My life is devoted to helping others achieve their greatness. I hope you'll like, subscribe, and if you take a chance with the Basketball Brain program, I promise you your game's going to reach levels that you never thought possible.
What's up, Basketball Brain fans and members? How's it going? Dylan here. So we had some sad news. Yesterday, Tex Winter died. Tex Winter, if you don't know him, you should know him if you're a basketball player. He was the architect of the triangle offense. And the triangle offense was the system the Chicago Bulls ran during Michael Jordan's championship runs. And it really is a thing of beauty. You know, it reminds me, have you ever used a kaleidoscope when you were a kid and you look through it and all the geometric shapes shift? Well, that's what the triangle offense is. Oh, that's a pretty good jump shot for back in the day. It wasn't too bad. I'm impressed. Anyways, it was a bunch of shifting triangles, and it just, as the players moved, the triangles kept altering from the sideline to the top and the other sideline. And you can even see when a shot goes up, there ends up most of the time being a triangle around the basket. You can see it there, that triangle that sets you up for rebounding. Tex Winter was an absolute genius. Now, people always say that the reason Michael Jordan was so successful in the NBA is because he had Phil Jackson. And I have to agree with that to a certain extent, because Phil Jackson was big on the mental game. He had the team meditate, he had them visualize, and he really talked about getting in the zone. And Jordan loved that. He wasn't sure at first about the meditation thing, but he slowly started to accept it, and it really helped his game. It really changed who he was as a player. So Phil didn't really have to convince Jordan too much to get into the mental aspect, but he really had to convince him about the triangle offense, because Jordan was destroying the league in kind of a run and gun, not a whole lot of structure offense. Phil Jackson said to him and Tex Winter, look, if you get into a more structured set, we don't have to worry about you in crunch time. You can create. You're a jazz artist. You can improvise on the fly. You don't crumble under pressure. But other players who aren't as talented as you, that don't have your psychology, at the end of games and even the beginning of games, but especially in crunch time, they need to know where they're going to get their shots. They need to know what to expect when they're on the offensive end. So we're going to stick with this system. And there's more freedom within this system than you think. Jordan, being coachable after playing for Dean Smith, he bought into the system. He bought into the triangle system. And the system really worked to his strengths, which was a mid-range jump shot. Now, Jordan came into the league, he didn't have this jump shot that you're going to see right there. He didn't have that jump shot, but he worked to develop it. So when the triangle offense came, I think one of the reasons he fell in love with it is because he had built his game to fit into something like this offense. That's not to say he had planned it or the offense was structured around him. It's just the way Tex Winter saw the game being played, and Jordan understood. He was smart enough to understand the beauty of the triangle offense and the effectiveness of it. Now, at the end of the shot clock, the ball would go in Jordan's hands, and then he kind of had his improvised time. I love how two players break over that pass down to the post. And then you have three guys down there rebounding. One of the reasons Rodman was always a great rebounder, but you can see why a great rebounder would really thrive in this system. You can see why a mediocre center would do okay in this system, because you're going to get some really open shots. And you can see why Jordan, or somebody like him, can play a lot of different positions here. He can be down on the post, he can get to the elbow, a lot of different options. It also opens up the lane a little bit more. Really a brilliant offense. And I can see why a lot of people bashed Phil Jackson for running the triangle offense in New York. I don't blame him for running it. I think you could have tweaked it a little bit to open up some more threes. You could have made it a little bit more fluid, even more movement, less stickiness with the ball. You know, because the thing about the triangle, you'll notice it goes to the post and it kind of stays there for a second. I think you could tweak that, but that's neither here nor there. So anyways, earlier I said Phil Jackson is given a lot of credit for Jordan's success. I think that's valid. I think that's fair. But if you were to ask me who was more important to Michael Jordan and his career and his consistency, the consistency of winning, well, I'd have to say it was Tex Winter. Because that triangle offense, it helped Jordan, sure, but Jordan was always going to get his points. But it gave Jordan a framework in which to use his teammates. It gave him a system where he could still score and his teammates could still be involved. And every night, if you watch Bulls games, and I literally watched every Michael Jordan game growing up, every one, I've seen every game, his teammates got shots in almost the same spots every night. Jordan was all over the place. He was shooting from everywhere. But even somebody like Pippen, they got a lot of the same shots over and over again, night in and night out. When I played in high school, we had an out-of-bounds play where I'd get a corner three or a wing three almost every time. And that was comforting to know. I knew I could hit those shots, so I kind of just assumed I'm going to make 50% of those going into a game, and I might get 4 or 5 of them. So I know off the bat I'm going to get 9 points or so. And I think a lot of players who don't have the ability to create their own shot, they need to know where their shots are going to come from. They also start to feel comfortable that game in and game out they're going to get a certain amount of shots. On the Bulls, you never really heard people complaining about not getting a number of shots. They always got the shots they thought they were going to get, and that's a big psychological impact, bonus for a team when you feel very comfortable that, hey, I'm going to get 7, 8 shots tonight. I'm going to touch the ball a lot of the times down the floor. So players don't get their expectations up where they have one game they get 20 shots and then they have another game where they don't get any. Of course that happened with the Bulls, but it was more balanced. And that's all Tex Winter, all of this, everything you're seeing came from the mind of one man. Created a whole system back in the 40s or 50s, and everyone who saw it recognized its genius, but you needed the right personnel to pull it off. Jordan was the right personnel. Pippen was the right personnel. Rodman was very smart. He got the triangle very quickly. B.J. Armstrong was smart. And the rest of the guys learned. The rest of the guys, they made sure they got players who could run this offense. But look how beautiful this is, Very beautiful offense. And I just wanted to say, Tex Winter should be missed, and people should recognize him more for the genius he was. This is basketballbrain.com. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Again, rest in peace.